Hey everyone, it's Gary here from Echidna Sewing, and today I want to show you the new addition to our embroidery accessory stable, the Echidna Stitch Remover. Now many of you probably already own a stitch remover, some of you would have had them for many years. This is the latest product that we have, and it's got a lot of advantages on previous models. First of all, we're going to unbox it and show you exactly what's in there. I'll take our demo model that we've already opened, no point opening another new one. So this is it, comes in a nice little sturdy box. Obviously it has instructions, which is always handy. Hopefully you'll all read those. In fact, we do recommend that. Now, a few things that set this apart is it actually has a mains charger. So this one will actually plug into mains power, so 240 volt. And another advantage on this is a nice long cord. Now what that means is if your battery goes flat, and they will obviously go flat after a while, and you desperately need to use it, you can plug it in and use it while it's plugged in, and with the long cord it makes it much more accessible. I'll pop that over there for a minute. We've also supplied this one with a USB cable, so if you don't have mains power or you've got a USB socket somewhere handy, you can actually plug in a USB socket into the unit and charge it with that as well. Now the unit is a little bit larger than what many of you would probably have had if you've had a stitch eraser before, and the beauty thing about this is it's a heavy duty one, if you like. It's actually got 2 speeds on it, and it's much more powerful than what we've had before. It also comes equipped with 2 blades, so you've got your standard wide comb there, and it also comes with the little precision blade, and that comes in the box with the unit. You don't have to buy that as an extra. And of course a little cleaning brush for keeping it clean. So let's get in and show you how this thing works. Okay, so here we have it. This is the unit itself, and as I mentioned before, it comes with 2 blades. Right now it's got the wide blade on it. Now I'm going to show you how to remove the stitches on this little sort of test sample that I've done, and I've got a whole heap of different fills here. Now the reason I'm using this is more often than not when you've seen the stitch erasers demonstrated, it's the simple case of doing lettering or satin stitching, which is really easy. But when you've got to take out fill stitches, that's where it gets quite tricky and difficult. Now in this example here, I've got different angles of fill stitches and some pattern fills, etc. So I'm actually going to work on that corner there first, and I'm going to remove those stitches. But I only want to do it in that corner. Now if I was trying to do that with the large blade, I'd really struggle, as you can see. And that's the benefit of the precision blade. So let's change this over, and I'll also point out before we do, it's kind of like a ceramic top and a metal base. So these things are actually really simple to use in the sense that they don't need as much oiling as previous ones with the all metal combs. Changing the comb over or the blade over is just a matter of holding it like this and pushing the blade off like that, taking the new blade and then just sitting it in there, pushing it on. That's all you need to do. Really simple. And again, as I said, they both come in the box as standard. Now, when you're another tip I give people using an eraser is use a nice, not necessarily a really hard surface. I'm using one of our hooping mats or our pressing mats, and the reason I like that is it's got a little bit of give in it and it's non-slip, so things don't slip around. And I always start trimming the stitches from behind. So we turn the article over like that. There's the area I want to remove at the moment. And I also look at the angle of the stitching. So on this one, the stitching is actually traveling that way on top, and of course there it is underneath. So I'm going to work at right angles to the angle of the stitching. This unit again has got 2 speeds, so low speed and a high speed, a little indicator light to tell you it's fully charged. And I'm just going to turn that off again for a minute. And holding it, you hold it like a pencil really. That's when you're doing the bulk of your removal of stitches. Hold it like a pencil, and you'll be pushing it down onto the back of the stitching like this. So let's show you how this works. We'll turn it on full speed, and now I just simply take my unit and I just rub it across. I'm going at right angles to the angle of the stitching, and you can see here, we'll zoom in a minute and show you. So we just continue to gently work the back of the stitches, and I'm trimming away here. You can see it's actually taking the stitches away there, and I'm trying to do just this little section. I don't want to go into the other sections, and again, that's the benefit of the precision blade. Now once we've done that, you can actually then just run your eraser this way. It'll just get rid of some more stitches, and I've cleaned up that area now. Now let's have a look at the front of the fabric and see what's actually happened. And you can see now, if I run my finger over there, how all those stitches have been loosened up. And here's the magic I love. Just take the unit again, and from the top then just trim away what we don't want, and that'll expose what's left, and then we can just keep working it. Now be careful if ever you go from the top of the fabric, because you don't want to damage your fabric, so just be very careful there. And now that I've sort of exposed what's left, I'm going to go and work the back again. You will make a bit of a mess, as you can see, but that's alright if it's going to get rid of the stitches you don't want. Now I can see by looking at this that the underlay stitches are still there. Now, depending on how many underlay stitches you have on a design, that will determine how difficult the design is, or the stitches are to remove. But I can see the underlay stitches are running this way, so all I do now is I just make sure I work back at right angles to the underlay stitches, and I'm removing them at the same time now. And again, normally when you see these units, any stitch eraser demonstrator, they don't show it to you doing it on a fill stitch. It's usually on a satin stitch, and again, satin stitches are really easy. So let's see what we've got there. Now, a bit of that fluff that you see is in fact the stabilizer, and I'm happy to destroy the stabilizer because that's not the fabric, and I don't care about that. I just want to make sure I don't damage the fabric. So let's go to the top again, and now you can see it's all coming off even further, and now we're exposing just the bare fabric. And if I come back here and just trim this off, and you'll see I'm getting almost complete on that little section. And there's no doubt that sometimes you'll need to use a pair of tweezers to get the little difficult bits out, but gee whiz, to get those stitches out without anything other than an eraser would have taken an eternity. So that's doing a little sample of that little corner there. Now over on this section you'll see we have some rather large satin stitches, and I said they're easier, and they certainly are. With a satin stitch, if I look at the back of that, I've just got to go across at right angles to the angle of the satin stitch, and you'll see that they're really easy to trim. And if we have a look at the top there now, you'll see that will pull up and just come out so easily. And again, you can easily run your eraser across the top just to clean off the long threads. And everyone's going to use it differently. You know, the way I use it to the way you use it might be different, but it's just practice. Practice on a whole heap of different type of stitch outs. This would be very easy because it's all mostly satin stitches, whereas this guy would be much more difficult because it's all fill stitches. So it just takes a bit of patience and perseverance as you learn to use it. But the great thing about this is it's very powerful. As I mentioned before, 2 speeds and the 2 blades. So again, changing the blades over, it's just a matter of clipping it off and then popping that in there and clipping it back on. And the wider blade, of course, if we were to do another section on here, we'll do more in a faster time. Again, you're just simply working at right angles to the stitching angle on the back. And because I'm using this mat underneath, I can push fairly firmly. If you go too aggressively, you could damage your fabric, so just be mindful of that. And you can see there, if I now turn that around, whoops, which one was it? There it is. And I've got tough fingernails, so you might need to use a pair of tweezers. I don't know, it depends on how tough your fingernails are. And once you've raised all that, you could just go over the top of that, and that will just quickly remove the bulk of the threads that are loose on the top. And again, you just turn it around and now try and work on your underlay stitches. I could spend all day just removing stitches. Some people find it quite therapeutic, but each to their own, I guess. But the great product, every commercial embroiderer I know has a stitch eraser of some kind, and for the price that these guys are, check them out on our website. They're really amazing, and I think it's a must-have for every embroidery studio. Okay, so there it is, guys. That was just a quick demonstration on how you might use the Echidna Stitch Remover. And I love this product, and a few things I didn't mention already. It has a 2-year warranty, so that's great. And it also has a lithium-ion battery, so the battery life's great, and I think you get 50 minutes without having to charge it. I mentioned earlier too that you can use it while it's charging, which is fantastic. So readily available now in stock in our stores and online, and the pricing is fantastic. So get online and have a look, particularly if you're a Platinum member. It's an excellent deal. So again, as I said, it's a must-have for every embroidery studio, and if you've got an older eraser that's getting near the end of its days, for the price of these, that's probably worth just getting another one. Anyway, hope that helps. Get in contact with us if you have any questions. Otherwise, happy embroidering. Cheers.